It is indeed. I mean, the events of the last week have shown that we are, as the Secretary General of the United Nations suggested, sliding into a Syrian-style civil war. On both sides, we've seen the tensions rising. I think if we look at the last week, two things occurred. There have been these airstrikes, but just a few days ago, there was an attack. It was a symbolic attack on the major Myanmar Air Force base in central Myanmar. And it was a kind of a symbolic attack, but it just seems to represent where we're heading. There have also been some other developments. The meeting of ASEAN last Saturday was rather feckless in the ASEAN's reply, but there was a call for mediation and for negotiation. I think the most important development, and the one that has been the least reported, is the creation of a national unity government, a kind of government of exile. This is now a situation which puts the international community in front of a clear choice. Which government they're going to recognize. They haven't recognized the military junta, but by recognizing the national unity government, which is an emanation of the parliament that was elected, regularly elected and fairly elected last November, it opens the door for international intervention in a peaceful way, and it evens out the situation, so to speak. The military have the weapons, so to speak, have the military power on their side. But if we give the national unity government, that is the democratic forces that represent really all of the population, now allied with the ethnic minority groups, the ethnic armed groups, and that's the other important development, the creation of a kind of federal army with these ethnic groups. We now are in a situation where the international community can now make a clear choice and say, are we going to defend democracy, or are we going to continue to sit back and making symbolic efforts to try and resolve the situation?
But then diplomatic efforts, of course, are being scuppered by Russia and China. So long as they're on the side of the generals, as it appears to be the case, can we actually see any progress?
There'll be divisions in the international community. I don't think it's in China's interest, frankly. It may be in Russia's interest, certainly not in China's interest, that the military coup, the military succeeds. It's in their interest that there's a stable, acceptable government accepted by the population in Myanmar. So I think that this will lead to divisions in the international community, and so much the better. I mean, it will put the international community in different countries in front of their responsibilities, particularly France, but also all of the countries of Europe, to make a clear choice. And if we recognize, this is a kind of 18th of June equivalent, so to speak, the 18th of June 1940 equivalent in Myanmar. Do we recognize a democratically elected government, which we will support, and that will provide justification in international law for intervening, not necessarily militarily, but with humanitarian assistance and other forms of assistance? Or we are going to continue to sit back, just imposing sanctions, targeted sanctions, etc.